Hey, what's going on, Mr. Robert Antonin? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Constance Carter, what's good?
I'm good. I am great. It's a beautiful, beautiful Thursday night, and I'm so excited about the topic that we're talking about tonight because I think so many ladies want to hear what we're about to talk about. But before we get into the conversation, I want to remind everybody to subscribe to Fly Nubian Queen on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook, and then go over to Nobody Works Harder Than Constance Carter and subscribe to that as well. Robert, where can they find you?
I am Robert Antoine on all social media platforms. On LinkedIn, I am Robert Antoine. On Instagram, I am Robert Antoine. And on Facebook, I am Robert Antoine. On Clubhouse, I am Robert Antoine.
Amen, amen. And I am Constance Carter on Instagram. So make sure you follow me. Make sure you follow Robert. And but we're gonna jump right into the conversation because Robert, the reason why we chose to do this topic tonight is because so many women, there are so many single women out there, and they're looking for their Prince Charming, right? They're looking for a successful man that is into them, that loves them, that has their own, but is willing to settle down. And there's so many men, I don't care how old they are. They could be in their 40s, 20s, 50s, or 60s. A lot of times men aren't ready to settle down with that perfect one. And these men said yes. These men found the perfect one. And they said that they're willing to put their Playboy, their bachelor thing to the side.
Turn their player card in.
They threw the player card in. Yeah. They tossed the player card. But I want to know, and a lot of the women want to know, what was it about that woman that made them say yes?
Hell, I want to know, what was it about that woman that made them say yes?
Absolutely. So we're going to bring them on. We're going to have a panel full of men tonight and just have the conversation about why did they say yes. We're going to bring on Mr. Jaron, Tommy Jones, Mr. Wallace Hall. How you fellas doing tonight?
I'm doing great, CC.
Good. Glad to have you on here. So, gentlemen, so many women. I have good girlfriends. They've been single for a long time. Some of them have been single their whole life. And they've been looking for a perfect man. And they say it is hard out there. You know, they say the pool of men is very slim. There's a lot of weirdos. There's a lot of men who play games. They send their representatives. They're not consistent. I hear all these complaints that these women have about men. And, you guys were all bachelors at one time, all very, very highly successful men. And you found that woman that you chose to say yes to and spend the rest of your life with her. So let's start with you, Jaron.
Oh,
Jaron.
Let's talk about
it, brother.
How your business?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because, I think men and women are all looking for love or relationship or long term.
Really?
I think the aspect is different from men because we're providers, we're, supposed to be the head of the house, supposed to be all these different things. And now, but at the same time, when you want to settle down, you want to look for people that cover your list, like you talked about before in your last episodes. So the list that we want. And, I think the challenge for all of us, or for what I looked at, I was realistic. I said, my list, if you could do 80% of my list, I'm good. And then I said, and the key thing was growth. Is that person that I'm going to be with going to continue to grow? Because I don't want you to stay the same as your 20, 30, 40. You got to be able to grow and continually grow with me. And you have to be crazy enough to go with me when I want to do crazy stuff.
See that, but the first thing that you said that I don't really think is true. You said all men and women want the same thing. And I find that a lot of women are looking for love. That's not necessarily the case for a lot of men. A lot of men just kind of want just to be chill. They want to chill. They want to go to the bar when they want to go. They want to go to work and come home. They want to have a lady friend every now and then, but they don't want that commitment. And you're saying a lot of men are looking for love.
Yeah, I think so.
My girls, they don't see that.
It depends on where you're looking.
Okay.
If you ask people where they're looking for that love, are they looking at the same spot they're always looking, or are they looking at new spots? Are they expanding their horizon?
Okay.
You know,
Constance, let me say this. I think that men and women are looking for the same thing, but it just looks different. It just shows up and looks different. I think that men and women, they want to be loved, but the definition of love for a man looks different than love for a woman. Typically, love for a woman is security.
Right.
Typically, love for a man is peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's being compliant, not being combative, because typically as men, we have to go out in the world just like women, and we have to fight and kill and drag back the spoils of war every day. Well, when we walk in the house, Robert, we ain't trying to fight with her. I just put my spear and my gun down in the garage, and now I walked in the house. Now I got to fight for headship with you. So that's what we don't want as men.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have to fight at home because we want to save our strength to fight in the world.
Yeah. I think on the show last week, Rob said, I just want peace. At the end of the day, I just want peace.
Correct.
Yeah, Tommy articulated that message a little bit better. I love his metaphorical spear that he had to fight with out in the world. Now, when I get my ass in this house, don't ask me no questions. Don't give me no errands. Let me sit down for a second and get myself together. Show me love, why don't you? But I don't want to have to fight with you when I walk into the house. So well said, Tommy. But Wallace, I love to hear your perspective on things. So in terms of what Tommy and Garen just articulated, and having that level of balance when you come in the house. Some women are, oh, I love you. I just want to see you. I just want to grab you. I want to love on you. And some women want to tell you and download their entire day. And then some women have a whole honey-do list waiting on you when you walk in the door. In your personal experience, have you found the one who's able to allow you to hunt and still be the king in your home and give you that peace that most men are looking for?
Yeah, Rob, I'm very blessed that I have found the one that allows me that, a big part of it though is when, and I agree with Garen and Tommy when they say at the end of the day, we all want to be, really kind of with somebody. I know there's a lot of guys out there that like to go out and, test the waters and have their fun and do all that. But at the end of the day, you really want somebody that you connect with, somebody you like being around or something like that, And a big part of my situation with Stay and I was just that communication when we first started dating. And we, like I told, we shared this story with you guys before that we were friends because I really never thought I really had a shot. So we kind of became friends through that. And I shared a lot of stuff with her and things like that. And she shared stuff with me. So we kind of had that communication piece where, she knows at the end of the day or something, you come home and, I want a time to unwind a little bit before you just dump everything on me. But we talk so much throughout the day. It's not really an unload period when we get, when I get home or anything like that, because we're in constant communication. So I think communication is a big piece of that. And that's how, it's how relationships work. It's all about communication.
Now, I know all men are different and all women are different, obviously. And so you talk about when I come home and somebody's articulated it very well. What about when the women's out there fighting the world too? True. So when you come home, what does an ideal night look like for you when you come home? Is it, like Robert said, oh, I just want to love you. I just haven't seen you all day. Or is it ninja? The yard needs to be cut. The trash needs to be taken out. Or is it you go do your thing? Let me get a glass of wine. You get a glass of wine. Let's go our separate ways. Let me unwind. And then let's get together. What does a typical night look like for you? Like, what would be a perfect night if you came home to your woman?
Talk to me?
All of you. Any one of you are able to answer that one.
Really just come home, and just want to sit, throw the briefcase and the laptop and stuff to the side and, get a glass of wine. We hug and embrace it. We haven't seen each other. We talk, but we really haven't had that face-to-face time or anything like that. And, a hug and a kiss to show me that you love me and I missed you. I missed just, I was talking to you. I didn't have your presence with me. but us being able to do that, and we can get a glass of wine and we can sit and chill for a little bit, as we kind of unwind the day. I just believe in most time if you see State, you see me. That's just kind of how we are. We're that couple that likes being together because, like I said, she's my best friend, and when we came into this relationship, we stayed best friends. And that's just how we are. Like I said, we just like being together. We like spending time together, like hanging out together. Trips to Walgreens or CVS or, run to Walmart to grab a loaf of bread or something. We just like hanging together. And that's just what we do. We just get in the car and just ride around town,
That is beautiful. What about you, Tommy, TJ?
Well, yeah, I agree with Wallace. For me, Erica is like, that's my ride or die. That's my little shadow. But I like being with her. Typically, when she gets out of court, she's calling me like, "Hey, are you at my house? Or are you at your house? Where are you?" Or she'll call me, like she called me tonight. And it's like, "Hey, where are you?" And it was like, I'm at the store. She's like, "Well, I'm headed to your house." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll see you when I get there," because that anticipation, that's how I wind down, is with her. For me, that's what works for me, because whether we're watching CNN, whether we're watching a ball game, or whether we're just talking to Stay and Wallace or Dennis and Melinda or whoever, it doesn't matter. We like to do it together and we unwind together. But what I would say to again, it goes back to, Constance, doing what matters to your spouse. I have dated people in the past that needed to decompress. They needed to unplug. They needed to, be by themselves for a couple of hours when they got home, and you just adapt.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, but at the time, the person I was dating, that's what they needed. So that's what I gave them. So it's, for me, for my personality, it's very conducive to be with somebody that wants to be with me as soon as she leaves the courtroom. So I love that. That's what works for me.
Yeah,
That's so sweet. What about you, Jaron?
It's really hard to put a certain thing to how my typical day is, because every day is different. So my basic foundation of everything is that when I come home, I want peace.
Yes.
I don't want drama. Not that you could tell me some drama that happened, but I don't want drama in my house. I want peace.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about the day, like Wallace saying or Tommy's saying, I'm doing that too. We get home. If I want to watch a show and you don't want to watch it and you want to feel to go to the other room, go to the other room. I'm not tying you to the couch. If I want to watch football and you don't, if you're watching something, I want to watch it, I go to the other room. We're with each other 24/7. For the rest of our lives. I'm going over 14 years of being married, so I don't need to come home necessarily and stop what you're doing, give me a hug and a kiss. But I like it. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be mad you didn't kiss me when I come home. So I just want peace. If you cook, then great. If you don't want to cook, cool, let's go eat out. I think everything is different based on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a bad day, I might want to sit. I might need to admit to myself, so I don't need you on my side, honey. Come talk to me. You should know that about me. So I think at the end of the day, my foundational thing is peace, and everything else could like flow and walk around, and everything could be like water. It curves and goes fast, and then you add kids to the equation. That's a whole different aspect.
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of different things. So it's a healthy dose of balance, but balance that works for you and works for your spouse, and you both understand that about each other, and then you move from there.
Beautiful.
Constance, so I'm so happy that you have this platform where the brothers, and I said the brothers, the kings, are being highlighted and celebrated on this evening. So happy New Year to each and every one of you. For breaking news, for all of you who are out there in the feed, just tell us where you're watching from. We want to know whether you're in the East Coast, the West Coast, down in the dirty South, or in the Midwest. But what I'm leading up to, Constance, in addition to knowing where they're watching from, I just like to stay on this thing of peace. So Wallace, tell me what are your deal breakers What breaks your peace? Is it the game, the playoff game that you're watching, the playoff game that you're watching, and your team is down by 7? It's 2 minutes. Is it that conversation on the boo? Can you do me a favor? What breaks your peace?
Well,
and it's not necessarily for you, but this is for the sisters who are watching, to make sure that they celebrate their kings, that they align with their kings, and they more importantly give their kings.
Well, one of the things is when you really know your king or your queen, you know the times to interject yourself in something. You know the times to pull back on something, like you alluded to, a game or something like that. You into the playoff season is down. Somebody's dry. Hopefully the Cowboys will get back. But anyway, your team is driving. Trying to make a touchdown at the end or get in position for that field goal. She kind of knows to, that I'm into that zone. Same thing with her, but y'all know my wife. She's a big Steeler fan. So I know when she's watching her Steelers and the Steelers are battling back and forth or whatnot, I know to kind of, just not really to bug her, because just tell you a quick little story. When we were first dating, we realized we really started dating each other. She came onto my apartment and watched the Steeler game. And the commercial came on, and I just grabbed the remote, as most men do. You change the channel. Oh man, we almost broke up that day because I changed the channel at the commercial. So we just learn each other, and all that's a part of communication.
So for some people, if you come in the middle of a game and say a certain thing, you want to kiss, you want to cuddle, you might get the boot at that point, or it's real serious for you guys in these games, huh? Sometimes.
It's funny. My wife has terrible TV etiquette. She probably get it from me. She has terrible TV etiquette. She will. I love her, but she will like come in the middle of a show and start having a conversation with me. And and I love her. Like, so what I do, I pause. I just pause it and say, "What do you? Okay, get it out." She's getting better, but I just pause, and then when she's done, I'm like, "You're done? Okay, cool. Good. Push play." It's compromise.
It's a win-win for everybody.
It's win-win. Again, I'm all about peace. If I'm creating peace in my house, I'm gonna do what I need to do to create the peace. And again, it's about, like I said, communication. Because at first she got irritated about that. Like, why are you pausing it? And I'm like, I'm pausing it for you. And then when she got it, she's like, okay, And I told her, I go, you got terrible TV etiquette. Me and my daughter told her that. And she's like, why are you guys talking? We don't talk. I'm like, because we know when to talk. And you don't, And so it's just one of those things where, when you want peace in your home, you do what you need to do to maintain that peace. Yeah. And I see a lot of people saying stuff in the comments and, God will send you a man. If you ain't do nothing, God ain't send you a man. That's just realistic.
God ain't saying no man.
God ain't saying no man if you're doing nothing, complaining about I got a man.
Hold on. Y'all say God ain't gonna see you no man.
What? Just be realistic. You're sitting. If you're going, I've met people that are going to from work every day, single women, and saying, "Why can't I find a man?" I'm like, "Well, what are you doing? Just going to work and going home? Oh, you expect me to knock on your door like a UPS package or something? I don't know." So, okay. I see some stuff and I kind of laugh at it, but again, at the end of it, it's about peace.
Yeah.
What are you doing to maintain your peace? And like I said, I just adapt with my peace. I'm water.
So Tommy, what does peace look like for you, brother?
Peace for me is just compliant. Just like. Give me what I need when I need it, because I'm going to give you what you need when you need it. Period. Period. That's peace. That's peace. And so I'm a creature of habit, and Erica knows that in all things. And she knows. She just knows. You don't have to tell her. She knows. Like she'll be like, "What's wrong?" Oh, what's wrong. You know what's wrong. But she may want me to say what's wrong, but she knows. So it's just compliant. That's all I could. That's the best way I can put it.
Compliant.
Tommy Jones is hold on for a second.
Let's stay right here.
Let's sit right here. Put the car in park. Breaking news. Tommy has just come up with the key word for the hour. compliance.
Yeah.
So, Wallace, let's speak on compliance. What that means to you, brother, because it may mean a lot of different things to a lot of different brothers. But if you were to take that word compliance, how would you apply it in your situation? Because you have found your perfect one.
Well, it's kind of like what my brother Tommy just said. You know, I'm gonna give you what you need when you need it. You know, just you give me what I need when I need it, and we have that agreement. That's compliance.
Wait. Hold on, real quick. Do you see this comment right here?
Complaint.
That's from Tommy's woman right there.
I see it. Complaint.
And I back row with that. She said compliant. What the hell did that, look, stay said Wallace is what? Compliant sounds very harsh and restrictive.
No,
but stay no. She says that to me all the time. Like when we trying to pick a spot to go out and eat, you know, she says, you know, you can pick the spot. It just when I want to go to a certain spot, you just be in agreement with that. That's compliance to me. You know, we just have that agreement of how we work as a team in business and how we work, you know, in our relationship.
Yeah, that's what that means to me too. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I think I see some of the comments. We got to understand that everybody has their own language in their marriage. And so everybody's saying that's harsh when he's saying compliant, but you don't understand what he means when he says compliant in terms of it's not a negative. It's just the way that his household works.
Correct. So, for example, Constance, let me give you an example of that. So, and I'll piggyback on what Wallace said. So let's say we're going to dinner, and I say, "Babe, where you want to go?" And Erica will say, "I don't care, you pick." And then I'll say, "Okay, we're going here." Well, no, I don't want to go there. Well, then hell, so I let the first one go, Robert. But after about 3 of those, no, I don't want to go there either. No, I don't want to go there either. Then I'm like, well, babe, then I need you to get on the Jones team and either pick a place or either comply with where I'm going. I need you to be okay with that. So it's kind of like that, you know, the other word that a lot of women of color have an issue with, and that's the word submission. And so compliance and submission is not a bad word. It's just yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah. We can have a whole show about that, Constance. Yeah. So to be compliant or to be submissive just means the greater good of the whole, and not be selfish either as the man or as the woman. It's like it's kind of like what we just saw yesterday on the Capitol. You see what I'm saying? Hey,
you making this whole deeper? And
no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
First of all,
hey, Constance, let me steer this bus. Let's get up out of this good here. I'm gonna get back on the road, and I'm gonna do it like this here. So Garen,
yes,
when it comes to the one that you have chosen, what are some key attributes that you look for that you find in your queen to be? Because there are a lot of women who, well, what do I need to be in order to make myself desirable? I'm not saying that in a sexist way, but what are some of the attributes about your queen that allowed you to choose her and say that one over there, I gotta make her mine?
So my challenge with me was I felt like I was picking women for the wrong aspects for a long-term mate. So then I needed a source. So my source happened to be the Bible when it goes to Proverbs 31. And so I looked at Proverbs 31. I looked at some verses in James and Hebrews and those things. And from there, I compiled it because God literally tells you what to look for. He says, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor upon the Lord. So I recognized that I had to find someone that was a wife. And when I saw her, I could see wife in her. And if I didn't see wife in her, then I knew that wasn't one for me. And then I had to go to God in prayer about it. Again, I'm just talking about me. This is what I did. I realized that I had to have the list that worked based on the structure that I wanted, which was if I wanted to have someone that I thought in my mind that worked for me, it had to be according to what God said. And so I started looking at biblical scriptures on that aspect. And so when I sensed in my spirit that it said wife, then I knew that was the one I was going to go for.
I love it. So real quick, hey Constance, I'm just going to jump to Wallace real quick. So according to Jaron Wallace, he did not read the gospel according to BBD. I liketh a big butteth and a smileth.
Oh,
so
I did read the gospel.
What attributes did you find in the one? Because I am a big fan of the Queen, Stay Hall. And so I'm just a fan, no matter what you say. But what about her allowed you to say her, that one over this? She is the one.
Before we started dating, I have been in a almost a 20-year marriage. When I came out and going to the situation, and then got divorced and started dealing with some, going through that whole ordeal there. And like I said, I wasn't really looking for, at that time, I had a plan. We all got plans, how I wanted to approach, getting back into a serious relationship. But a mentor of mine, when we was talking just about relationships and stuff, and he just kind of gave me a list of things that to look for. And if you can find a young lady that checks off certain amount of these lists, this particular list, that's who you need to go with. It's hard to get somebody to get them all, but find someone who can knock off majority of them. And if they can do that, then that's who you want to be with. And kind of going by that, we just matched up so perfectly in so many areas and how she was about different things and things like that. And like I say, I pretty much had like a 5 to 7 year plan when I went through my divorce. So before I was gonna get, before I would seriously start seeking a serious relationship, that lasted about 2.5, 3 years. And I knew where I was supposed to be and who I was supposed to be with.
So Constance, Wallace had a 7-year plan to go and sow his royal oats. No, I'm kidding. Tommy J, TJ.
Yes, sir.
We say the best for last, brother. We know you're gonna set this mic on fire one more again. What made you choose her, that one over there? What qualities did she possess? And maybe our queens can learn.
Yeah, man. Listen. So when I met Erica, I too, like Wallace, wasn't looking for a serious relationship. And so when I met her, I mean, first of all, why are you talking in the background? She but I really wasn't. Dude, this is our show.
Oh, it's Erica.
But for me, Robert, it's just like I say this quite often. Erica is my constant reminder that God still answers prayers. And what I mean by that is that what I wanted when I wanted to get serious about somebody is that, number one, somebody that loved me just for me, number one. And number two, the big thing, because I have kids from a previous marriage, is somebody that loved my kids as their own. And those were the really top two things. Everything else was a given, the income, the education level, the just, being a mover and shaker. That was going to be regardless. But those two things, the next time around in a relationship, is what I wanted. Somebody to love me and somebody to love my kids as their own. And just things that I wanted from Erica, I never had to ask her for. She gave them freely. She gave them without being prompted. And that I'll never forget. We met Constance in August, and my daughter's birthday was in September. And so Madison was turning 16. And for those of you that know Erica, y'all know Erica is a girly girl. She goes all out for everything. And so we had been dating right at a month, Robert. And she was like, so, hey, your daughter's turning 16. And at this point, she hadn't even met Madison yet. And so she was like, so what are you doing? What are you doing for her 16th birthday? I said, I don't know. I'm going to see what she wants to do. And so she followed back up, Constance, the next week. And she goes, so what are you and her mom doing for her birthday? And I said, well, she really didn't want to do anything big. And Matt and Erica's like, she's turning 16. It's her sweet 16th birthday. And we're like, yeah, but she wants to do something big for her 17th birthday. And Erica's like, but it's her 16th. And I'm like, I understand that, but Madison don't want to do nothing. So Erica called somebody on her staff to put something together, a little makeshift, just impromptu party, and said, hey, when you pick Madison up from school, bring her by my house before you take her home. And she had a little bootleg mini birthday party. And we're 3 weeks in, bruh. We're 3 weeks in, Robert. And I was like, yeah. And she had balloons. She had a cake. She had her house manager do all this stuff. And it was just like, ta-da. And it was just like, yeah.
She the one. She the one. Listen, if it don't work out between you and Erica, tell Erica, call me.
So I gotta say this. I gotta say this to the people watching. So Constance came to Erica threw me a birthday party in Puerto Vallarta in November of last year. So Constance came. So at the culmination of my birthday party, Constance walks up to me, Wallace. I don't know if I told you this, Wallace, and says, hey, if you don't marry her ass, I'm going to marry her ass.
I've never been to a birthday party quite like that one. Ever.
Remember, Stan, I told you, Tommy, we're going to marry Erica.
Right. So listen, for everybody that's watching, we are dropping straight gems. So listen, if you got a single friend and she is looking, and I know some people on here said, listen, women don't look for men, men come looking for women. And just like Jaron said, you ain't gonna find nobody sitting at home. But you might need to know these tips if you are looking for your forever mate. So make sure you are sharing this on your page in single groups, there's all kind of married groups out there. There's all kind of single groups. Share this on your page, on other pages and groups, because people need to hear this. So my question I wanted to ask you all is, how do you handle conflict? Because a lot of times men and women, we communicate way differently. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Just me and Rob, just even on the show, like we fight like Bloods and Crips sometimes. And then when it's lights, camera, action, we be like, hey. So, and because I'll say something and he'll hear something totally different. He'll say something and I'll hear something totally different. So how do you manage those conflicts?
So I can start that off. If you just do what I say, everything will be fine.
I mean, basically.
Oh, bro, I'm sorry.
So
that is Wallace. You, Tommy, y'all know that is not true, Jaron. Come on.
Yeah. So let me have that one first. So, being in love with an attorney, being in love with a good litigator, a professional litigator, boy, your skills got to be on point, Jaron. And so, for me, what I do, Robert, when we have disagreements, when we have confrontation, I repeat back, Constance, before I react, and I say, Erica, I heard you say bop, 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 bop. And then it'll either be like, no, that's not what I said, or to be like, you damn right, that's what I said. And then we move from there.
Wait. Get Erica in this conversation. I want to see what's really being said.
Wow.
Let's not do that, because I want TJ to maintain and be the man that I know him to be.
All right, Wallace, what about you?
Oh, well, I don't know. In dealing with conflict, it's just like, say, one of the biggest things, you can't you got to keep it from being personal. That's one of the biggest things. You got to keep it from being personal. And one of the things we try to do, I know we've done counseling with couples and things like this, and what we kind of picked this up from a marriage seminar that we attended when we first started getting when we got engaged. Let's put it that way, to put a time on it. It's about limit your arguments, limit your conflicts to a certain amount of time. You try to limit everything to about 25 minutes or so, because anything goes outside that, it generally jumps off topic. So when you're having those disagreements, those conflicts, arguments, you got to maintain topic, because you end up start pulling other stuff inside the conflict or the argument or whatever, and not even pertain to what's going on that day. And that's how a lot of times that you generally want to, and then you get to a point where, we're going to agree to disagree. At the end of the day, I love you, you love me, we're going to be together. We just agree to disagree, and then we move on. And at the end of, not everybody has to be, whoever says knows I'm right. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this is who I love, this is who I'm with, and her happiness is what I'm all about. So if I got to eat some humble pie and say, you know what, babe, I don't want to argue no more. That's just the end of it. I love you. Let's just table that and we just move on. Because it's not worth it at the end of the day.
I was told when you limit, I was told by some folks that, don't let the conversation last beyond 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
Try to squash it as soon as possible. You do not need to let it linger and linger and linger. Squash that and move on.
Yeah, because that's how people's mamas get pulled into the conversation and all that kind of stuff. And things, they start bringing us stuff from 5-6 years ago, and you're like, what are you talking? What? I don't even got all about that. So like I say, limit it. That's the best thing. That's the advice we give to everybody that when we counsel and things like that. Limit your conversations and things, and stay on topic, and don't pull stuff from the past, nothing, because then it blows up into some mess, and before you know it, the whole day is gone, and y'all arguing, and you can't get that day back.
That's true, and you just wasted time, because it ends up being over nothing anyway.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like to think, like, I always find out when it comes to conflict, I want to know what's the point of conflict, why are we arguing, or why are we disagreeing on this conflict, and then what's the is there a root problem to this? I'm probably gonna say something, someone might get mad at me for this, or might not, who knows. I know how to. Conflict is always, it's like sticking a round peg into a square hole sometimes, and so. If the person is, if my wife is on her, this happened earlier, less now. If she's on her cycle, her emotional mind state might be a little different. And so when she comes out, if I don't pick up on that, I might be responding to something that is just blown out of proportion compared to when she wasn't, and we have a more mutual conversation. So it's just understanding the frequency that your spouse has, and then going from there. I remember a couple of times where my wife got into it with me, and I realized, okay, that's that cycle going on. And then later on, I'm like, you said this before last week. And she's like, oh, what are you talking about? That was nothing. And I'm, what?
Jared, I think you might want to say those sensitive moments.
You're right.
You don't want to just put that out there quite like
sensitive, I was trying to be as much politically correct as possible,
Gotcha.
But it comes.
We're all adults, Jared. I think what you're saying is that men, you need to know when your significant other's menstrual cycle is coming on. Mark it on your calendar. These 3, 5, 7, 9 days.
Again, everything. It's you got to understand the person you're with, how they are. How do you handle conflict? I like, if we have a paid attorney, I don't know if you're gonna win that. I just lose every.
You ain't gonna win. Period.
I guess I'd say yes there.
Not only a paid attorney, but one of the top attorneys in Texas.
Yeah, you ain't rid of that. You ain't rid of that argument. There's nothing you can say.
So let me say this, Constance, to pick it. Jaren brought up a great point. I think that in relationships that, you have to study your spouse, and you have to understand your spouse in different situations. There are certain triggers, and you have to know sometimes a response, Robert, comes from a place that's not quite healed yet. Mm-hmm. And you have to take the high road in that, because there's been times that Erica has said something, and my response is not the Tommy 2.0 Tommy. Mm-hmm. That's the highest and best version that I'm working on now. It may be the Tommy 1.0 or the Tommy 1.5. And so Erica will say, you know what, babe, that ain't you. So I ain't even gonna respond to that right now because I know that's something you're still working on. And so you have to know who is speaking at that time. You have to know if that's the old person, the current person, or the person that they're trying to become. And then that's where love covers a multitude. And then you just have to say, you know what, babe, I'm gonna let that one go right there because that's gonna pop off into something totally different that's gonna take our destiny off course right now.
You know
And
what?
so,
You're right. Because sometimes you just got to be like 5, 4, 3,
yeah,
2, 1.
correct.
You need those breathing moments. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta just pause for a minute, and because a lot of times we could just those triggers they could and a set and
Yeah.
you know that we can pop off.
And I'll say this too, Constance. And we talked about this in Puerto Vallarta. In relationships, a lot of times we're called to help heal the wounds in our spouse that we didn't inflict.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with healing wounds, Jaron, that you're like, I didn't cut her there, but I'm damn sure getting bled on right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so when you're in relationship, you have to be like, you know what? I didn't create your baggage, but I'm going to help you unpack it, repack it, so you can carry your baggage more efficiently. And I'm
Right,
here for you. Yeah.
right. Amen. Amen.
Wow.
I always think about me because like I know I have a big patience level. But when I get really hungry, it goes down to like here, my patience, and I'll snap real quick, and my wife would be like, "Okay, I know you because I know you're hungry. So let's go get some food, and then we'll talk about this later." And so it goes back to the Bible's quick to say, "Dwell with your spouse according to knowledge," which means knowing the person you're with.
Yes.
And so if we know the person we're with, then we know their triggers and how they interact.
Right.
So we can't we can't act like there's a be all answer. Just understanding the person you're with and knowing how they are.
Mhm.
If your wife has trust issues, we can't say you can trust me. We gotta demonstrate the trust through time.
So we always talk about love is an action word, and that's part of that. You guys show me the action. It's things you got to do to earn that trust, to earn those situations. And one of the deals is knowing what each other's triggers are, because you spend that time knowing. And if there's certain things that upsets your significant other or whoever you're dating or whatever, if you know there's things that trigger them, why would you do that intentionally? Unless you're trying to do something. So what you should learn to do is, all right, I know I need to deal with this situation, or we have this particular situation going on. Let me figure out the best way to go at it so I don't trigger a reaction I don't want. So we can solve this. Like, can I kind of go along with what Tommy said? Let me do what I can do to help you unpack this. And so we can figure it out together and then pack it where you can deal with it better and I can be assistance to help you. Not let me just say, why are you feeling that way? Why are you doing this? Let's not do that. Let's try to be friends. Let's try to work this thing together, because really it boils down to it. It's a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so real quick, Constance, I want to touch on something. These brothers are deep, and I thank you so very much. If you are feeling what's happening, just heart this thing up, like it. Make sure you reach out and follow my man Wallace Hall, Tommy Jones, and Jerry Power. I want to go real superficial for a quick second. I know a couple partners, they have some very, very lovely females on their arm. And I've seen them out in public spaces wearing some very, very revealing clothing items. So what say you, counsel of men? It's one thing when you're walking with your queen, but if your queen decides to leave out of the house with an outfit that reveals a little more than you approve of, how do you handle that situation?
You may go take that one first.
Don't jump on in there, Dr. Wall.
I jump on that. I'm old school, so I say in a minute. There's no need to show my groceries off. My groceries are my groceries. I want to that's for me, and that's for me to share, and that's for me to have. And that I don't need the world seeing that. And we just had that respect with each other. You know, if she feels like it's something that she may have that maybe true revealing or something like that, she may say, "Hey, babe, what are you thinking on this? I'm kind of in between on this or whatnot," you know. And that's just kind of how we do it. You know, it's I don't, you know, I just not into going out and showing all the goods out. That's just not me.
So you've already had that conversation prior to, so that's an understood.
Oh yeah, we had that conversation early on.
So conversely, Wallace, you're not out wearing any skinny jeans right now, right?
No nut crunchers.
No. I gotta breathe. I'm sorry. I'm a brother, so I gotta have room. I can't.
Grown.
Yeah, I shouldn't be trying to figure out which jeans are mine and which ones are hers. That don't work.
Dr. Power, where do you stand on that, my brother?
If she's wearing revealing stuff like that, then obviously she was wearing that before you met her. So when you got with her, you knew what she was wearing because she was wearing that. She had that in the closet prior. So it then comes to if this is someone you're trying to be serious with, and this is becoming an issue for you, saying, you know, hey, now I'm with you, I want you to change your style up. Then that's a conversation you need to have with that person. But if she's not going to want to change her style based on you met me like this, then you have to reevaluate if that's the person you want to be with. And or when it comes to your friends, are they looking at that where she's a trophy woman, where he's wearing that because you want people to look, because that's an insecurity that he's dealing with. So there's a lot of, situations where you have to look at the whole picture and kind of see it. I'm like Wallace, like Method Man said, wearing 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off. That's me, and me and my wife have a conversation about dress. What's comfortable with you. If it's okay with me, she'll wear it. And vice versa. I'm not wearing nothing that she don't like. I'll just take it off and put it back in the closet or get rid of it. And so those are conversations you have to have going forward.
So Jared, in my ratchet mind, so you do have veto power before she walks out of the house.
Oh man, you see,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to phrase it. I withdraw the question. DJ,
I'll say this. My wife, the only person she cares about impressing is me.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't, if I don't like something that she's wearing and I say I don't like that, out of respect for me, she'll take it off.
Right.
But also she will come to me and say, how does this look on me? Are you comfortable with me wearing this? But that's a respect thing. And vice versa. If I'm wearing something that she don't like, and again, within reason, not like saying I don't like that shirt, take it off. I'm just saying, how's it looking on me? If she don't like something I'm wearing for whatever reason, it's tight, skinny jeans, and she says, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with you wearing that. I'll take it off because again, I want peace in my house. Yeah, so absolutely. Is it worth saying I'm going to wear what I want to wear because I'm a man and then walk out the house? So that's how I look at it.
Well, with Stay and I, when we first started dating, I was assistant pastor at a church at the time. And so, that was something that we kind of talked about. What she wanted to know, what did I expect her to wear? So that's why, we had that conversation about it. And she already dressed perfect to me and everything. I didn't expect her to go out and get the big hats and all that. I went into all that stuff anyway. But because that's what she said, she's not doing that. So she kind of laid down. Y'all know Stay. So she kind of laid that down to me in the beginning. I said, well, I'm not about that anyway. So, but she's very conservative on her dress or whatnot. And she knows when to dress, pleasing to me, let's put it that way. And we deal with it from there.
TJ.
We done held TJ back long enough.
Well, that's never been an issue with Erica, but I will say, to answer your question, I'm not that mature, Robert. I'm not that mature to put my stuff on display. So yeah, I'm just not that mature. So that everybody that knows Erica's a fashionista anyway, and she dresses to the nine. But surprisingly, Constance, really, she does. She's like, babe, what do you think? I mean, what should I wear? Should how do you like this? So it's not so much asking for permission; it's out of respect. It's like, babe, I wanna I want to be a compliment to you. I want to, I want to be pleasing to you, but I also, every man on this phone, they want their woman to be eye candy on their arm, and so she straddles that fence very well. She does a great job.
So there's a lot of women that are watching because we're seeing a lot of comments from a lot of women. There's also men on here. And so I want to know for the women, because that's a great question. So for the women, do you have a problem in having your man dictate how you dress? And for the men,
you gotta say dictate, Constance?
I mean, that's basically what it comes down to.
But no, it don't.
No.
Wait a minute, Constance.
Jared said if it was
No, wait.
What I say? He said, Jared said.
No. What I'm saying is, Jared said if it was already in the wardrobe, how you gonna change it up once you go down the aisle, right? So if you met a woman in a certain way, say you met a woman at the club. I mean, at some point, she got to take the club clothes off. She ain't 25 forever. But if you met her a certain way, then how do you expect once you go down the aisle? Or do you expect once you go down the aisle for her to just say, change and say, I'm not going to dress a certain way? Because some men want you to be like looking like a nun or have them things on like them. They don't want nobody to see nothing. And it was like, okay, I mean, let me have a little bit of sexy.
Okay, so let me answer that from my point of view. Now, Erica is not one to be scantily clad, okay? But I have dated women in the past that were extremely aggressive in their look. And so one motto that I always had, Constance, is I'm not going to bring up anything to talk about that I'm not willing to change. So what I would do when I was dating this one young lady is I actually took her shopping. And Robert, I bought her a couple outfits that were complementary to her shape that still allow her to be sexy, but it was more of a classy sexy for me. And so what you celebrate, people repeat. So what happened over time, Constance, is she started to change her wardrobe on her own. And it wasn't from a dictatorship. It was more from a modeling and me giving her a new perspective and a new outlook.
All right, Sugar Daddy.
Right.
So,
I'll say,
I'm just saying, but sometimes some men like to see their women dressing sexy, not provocatively, but sexy, because they're like, at the end of the day, she's going home with me. I like to look at her. Who cares if a bunch of dudes are looking at her? She's going home with me.
Well, I'll say, when I say dress up, I don't want to put her in nun clothes. For one, when we first got married, I ended up buying my wife like 70% of her clothes. Like at one point, because I was like, this is what I like on you. And it was revealing, I'm not saying that in a bad way, like you don't like what you're wearing. I was just like, this is stuff I like on you, but it wasn't nun clothes. They were really nice. And if you have a figure, you can't hide that no matter what you wear. If you're wearing just the average, cause you take a lot of pictures and you can't hide your figure. There's nothing you can wear that can hide your figure in terms of that regard. And so you can wear something really elegant and sexy and nothing be wrong with it. Now, if your husband has a problem with what you're wearing, that's a whole other insecurity on his part. If you're not showing off your breast, if you're not, you can't thong and all that stuff, and if you're dressing business like sensual in a way where it's really beautiful on you, then you gotta let that you rock it.
Well, one of the things, like kind of, let me just say it from my point of view on that. We all kind of know what we like. I know that I know when Stan and I got together and I kind of was dating out there, and like I said earlier, I wasn't really looking for something serious, but we all know what we like, and when you kind of see that, that's what you kind of hone in on. And my whole deal, like I told you before, I'm old school, so the way she kind of dressed and carried herself then is the same way pretty much how she dresses and carries herself now. That's what attracted me to her. That. So it's not necessarily about dressing scantily clad or looking like they left most of the dress at the store. It's about just how you carry, put on who you are and how you carry yourself. And Tommy and I kind of had a conversation a while back about we talked about what is sexy. And it's a lot more about how you carry yourself than necessarily the clothes that you have on. And I think that's where people get that confused at, because they think, oh, she's saying, she must be sex because she ain't really got no clothes on. No. That's not what sex is. Sex is about how the things you exude, the confidence, the swag, and how you carry yourself and do things like that. And that's why I say my wife is super sexy, because I love who she is, what she wears, how she carries herself, her little quirky smile she got when she just sitting and look over at me. That's the stuff that I like, and that's what attracted me to her. And so it wasn't about necessarily trying to, tell her, oh, you need to dress a certain way. No, that's why I said when he said dictate what they were. Oh no, that's no good. CC, that's no good.
Just is a better word. No.
So real quick, CC, Wallace will be able to see me.
That's a better word.
Hey, listen, brothers, real quick for the people in the back and for the ladies who are watching, in terms of the one, because you all have found the one, when it comes to intimacy, talked about sexy intimacy, would you say you like it better that you drive, or would you prefer that she steers the entire intimate interaction? And I know the safe answer is it depends. My question is, what do you prefer? When it comes to intimacy, would you prefer that she drives or you drive?
Compliance.
Yes, sir.
Adam May?
Eat the pie.
Yes. That's pretty much it.
Woo! Y'all ain't gonna get out of this. You are.
We have consensus. We have one other brother to ask.
It's on time.
Y'all gonna answer it.
Hold on, Jaron. What say you, my brother? You like driving or you like being riding shotgun?
I thought we're stuck on compliance for a minute. I like going mainly me, but I like going back and forth. Sometimes. Let her drive sometimes.
Mainly you?
No, mainly me, but I like to let her drive sometimes. Let her feel like she's in control every now and then with the intimacy level. I'll keep it there. Moving on.
That Tommy Jones, I'll tell you, Constance Carter, boy. What are we gonna do with him? Good God Almighty! Compliance. Coming to Texas, forget about coming to America. Whatever it is that you like, Mikey.
Yeah.
Listen, Robert. I'm fixing to get in you and Wallace's world. The word says that they put a young lady in the bed with the King David, and said, "Sure, the king is dead because he didn't respond." Come on, somebody. So, yeah.
Come on, somebody.
So let's unpack that real quick. So if your woman is aggressive, you don't respond to that?
Ain't nobody said that, Constance. That's not what we said.
That's what I picked up. What do you say?
No.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tommy.
Typically, men's drives are stronger than women. So when I say compliant, it's just like, okay, Daddy, I'm down for whatever. Just whatever you need. This is team us. So yeah. So it doesn't really matter who initiates, as long as we get the ball in the basket, as long as we win.
Okay, so the King David reference kind of threw me off a little bit. So okay, I get it. Okay, what about you, Dr. Wallace?
Wow. Constance, it's great that we have a platform where we have these brothers who are so willing to share their innermost thoughts. But here's the reality. Here's where the rubber meets the road. There are a lot of conversations that are superficial, that questions get asked, but you never really get the answers. And these are some solid brothers who I appreciate that they're taking the time out to answer these questions, because when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to wardrobe, when it comes to words like compliance, obedience, obey, follow, these are words that have started wars inside of households for centuries. But it's good to get the man's perspective because I believe that 2021 will be the year of the woman. Shout out to Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey, all the queens that are assisting these kings or walking side by side with these kings. I just believe that you're going to show up and shine, not only online but in the world and in real life. But this conversation, this dialogue is awesome. Do you have a question, Constance? Because I believe the brothers have just
Wallace didn't answer that question
to me tonight.
Wallace did not answer that question.
Which one was that? Does he like to drive or let stay drive? Okay.
Oh, Bay Area. Ooh.
You gotta be fair.
I got you. It's mainly me, but I don't mind, when I come home and she let me know what she want, or she called me and tell me what she want, and
whoa.
So that's just the way it goes.
Wow. So in terms of that, before you get home, creating the anticipation, what are some of the best ways that the queens, the sisters out there that can help to build up that anticipation that when you get home, like what are some tips, some tricks, some strategies, some thoughts, some sweet nothings that absolutely get you ready to come home?
There's tricks, but yeah.
Wait, what?
That's definitely some tricks, but yeah. But no, it's just having that conversation, just a little flirty conversation or something, and then sometimes it's just about tell me what you want straight up, I want you to do this. Oh shit, let me get on to the house. Running red lights, Don't even put the car, don't even put the car in park. You just jump out with it rolling slow,
Coming in hot.
So
hey, Jeremy, is there anything that she can say or a text that she could send that would really let you know?
I'll say this, if this thing ended right now and she opened my office door and said, "Come on," I know what she's talking about. So, I'm just saying, it's so just understanding the person you're with and what they like and what they don't like. So is there a blanket answer? If I was out and about, my wife said, "Come home, I need you for some stuff," I'm dropping what I'm doing and coming home, for some it really is understanding, your spouse and what they like and what they don't like. What worked for me might not work for Wallace, and what worked for Tommy might not work for me, but work for Wallace and Robert.
Jahari, is this what marriage is really like? What do you mean, Jahari? Is this boring or is this exciting? What do you say? What about you, Tommy Jones? Tommy's not gonna get married, so his is still, kind of probably frisky and freaky and a little new. So what keeps you going, Tommy?
Well, we keep it light, we keep it fun. Erica is pretty adventurous, and but again, she don't say no. She don't say she down for whatever. I feel
messages like, "Hey, baby, I can't wait till you."
Yeah. Erica blushes when I'm kind of ratchet, with my stuff, and I kind of go overboard with it, So I'll be like, "Hey, I bought you a helmet and a mouthpiece and some goggles." She's like, "What?" I said, "Oh, never mind. Don't judge me." But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm a little,
And so, how about those Cowboys?
Those Cowboys.
Hey, Wallace and Stay were in the room next to us in Puerto Vallarta, and we had to pay for counseling for a month for them. So after that, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so that's how we get out.
So let me ask you this question there, young people, frisky fur lions.
Wow.
Let me ask you about the phone thing. It's time to talk about the phone thing, Constance. So you are in your space, the king of your castle. Are phones up or are phones down in your household, Jaron?
Depends on what I'm doing. If I'm watching a movie, phone's down. If it's every other day, phone's up. It depends on how I put I don't pay attention to that. It doesn't matter to me. But I know if I'm watching a movie and it's off, I don't want my phone lighting up because it's irritating. So I put my phone down. That I know I do, But the end of the time, it's just irrelevant. I might put my phone on the charger. I might, it really doesn't matter to me. It's not like my phone's locked up or something. It's right in front of me. If I leave it there, my wife wants my phone. She needs something in it. Here you go. So that comes down to trust, though. Am I hiding anything in my phone? No.
Correct.
I got another phone for that. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Robert, that's funny you say that, because I remember we were early in our relationship. We were me and Erica. We were actually out to dinner with Dennis and Melinda Miller, and Erica needed something, or she was trying to research something, and so I handed her my phone, and I got up and I went to the bathroom, and my phone like timed out while I was gone, and so Erica just punched my code back in and continued her search or whatever she was doing. So when I got back, so Dennis had pulled me to the side when we were leaving. He goes, "Oh, you for real with this one?" And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, "First of all, you left your phone unattended, and when it timed out, she knew the code." And we kind of chuckled, and he kind of gave me a pound like, "Yeah, you serious about this one?" So to answer your question, Robert, this is the first woman like in ever that I can leave my phone wherever. And I'm in the mortgage business, so my phone is password protected because I have people's information, social security numbers, bank accounts and stuff in my phone and emails, so it's password protected. But I mean, my girl, she know all that. So it when you out the game, it don't matter no more. It don't matter.
So that goes to my final question, though. How did you know that she was the one?
Man, for me, Constance, I knew because I had never experienced the level of joy with anybody that I experienced with Erica. It was so insatiable, Robert, that when our dates would be...
Whoa, wait a minute. Insatiable.
Insatiable.
That's a whole essay to God.
He said insatiable.
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 He pulled out the big word.
I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
So when our dates would be getting ready to end, I would be like coming down off my high, and I'm still in her present, and I would be like, okay, so what are we doing next? So, Constance, I gave up the right to be cool and be suave around her. I didn't care how it appeared. I wanted her to know that she mattered. And I know most brothers that I know, we play that game like, hey, I kind of like her, but I don't think that I like her too much, too fast. All the rules went out the window with this one. This is the first person that I've ever posted socially on social media. This is the first person that I've allowed around my kids. This is the first person that I've allowed around my true friends, not my associates, not my business partners, but my friends/family. So that's how I knew. I mean, because I wanted to do for her, Constance, everything that every other woman before Erica had asked me to do, and I did it for Erica without Erica having to ask. That's how I knew.
My man. Salute. Dr. Hall, how'd you know?
Like I said earlier, we were friends, and and I was still out there, dating around and doing different things. It got to a point where I couldn't wait for dates to end to get on to call her to talk about the date. Because like I said, we were that type of friends. And so it just got like that where I'm really loving talking to this person. And we would go somewhere, I would leave the office and go and meet her somewhere for lunch. And man, before you know it, it's 7, 8 o'clock. We've been sitting there all day long, just talking, having conversation. And we'll still now, we'll just be up, just talking. And, it's like when you're growing up and you're on the phone to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, falling asleep. Well, we sit there sometimes just having conversation like that, just laughing and talking, no TV, no nothing. And when we was dating and having those conversations and stuff, and it got to that point, I'm like, this is the one. Like I say, she checked off a lot of those boxes for me on that list. And like I say, she just ended up, she was the one, because I knew, like I say, I can't wait. I'm talking to her about people I'm dating, and then we got to that point where we call it Black Sunday, when we first acknowledged that we were actually kind of really feeling each other. And I realized she was feeling me. I cut all other relationships out. I opened up the stable and said, get out of here. I'm going to focus on this one. Focus on this one, and we're going to make this happen. And that's exactly what we did. And, man, it's been wonderful ever since then. Like I say, she was a great friend. She's an awesome wife. And so, yeah, that's how I knew, man. We just had that connection.
I love. What about you, G-Man?
Wow. So we talked about my list earlier, and my top 2 things on my list was that she loves God and she loves God more than she loves me. And so I was really content being single, like completely single. I wasn't playing and dating much people. I was content being single. And one of my prayers was, God, just tell me who she is. Because apparently, because I was in a bad marriage before, I was like, I don't do a good job of picking. So I know what I want, but you know what? If you tell me, I'll trust you. And even though I knew her for about 2 years, I didn't see her that way. I mean, because we see each other at church, and we see each other at different functions. And God said, she's your wife. And I said, okay. And I learned love. I learned personally from that it wasn't about falling in love. It was choosing to love. Because I have control over me. And so I could choose to love her, just like God chose to love us. And so it wasn't a falling in and falling out. It was a no representative. It was no, this is who I am, being suave. It was like, this is me. This is what God told me. And I know God said you're my wife, and this is what we're doing. I didn't say this to her initially, but that was my play. So when I came, that was how I was. I had no time for games. It wasn't a warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart. So I talked to her. We talked for hours. Matter of fact, I think the first time I called her, she told me she'd call me back. She was on the phone with a friend. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because no one's ever did that to me. and so that's how I kind of played it. So, and again, I think God's decision was the best decision for me. And, over a decade later, 14, 15 years, we're still going strong. So
that's beautiful. So we're going to wrap this up. But before we do, there's a question that Rob always asks that we always debate about. He said, what do you think is more important? You want to ask the question, Rob?
It's way past my bedtime, but which one is more important to you, brothers? Love or trust?
Trust.
Don't answer all at once, but we'll give you an opportunity to think about that. I'll answer it. You got it, TJ? Come on, let's come on with it then.
Trust.
Why?
Because love is an emotion sometimes, or a feeling, and it can come and go. But if I trust you through the process, even in the times that you're unlovable or that I'm unlovable, my trust in you and my trust in us is that we can regain that love again.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Wallace or Jaron, you want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, my thing is, like say, kind of like with Tommy, trust, but like say, trust and love, they kind of walk hand in hand a little bit, because similar to what Tommy was saying, that trust is kind of what I got to be able to trust you. If I, same thing with women when you're dating a guy, women say, I got to be able to trust you with my heart before I give my, before I'm willing to link up with you or to be with you, and the same thing with guys, I got to be able to trust you that you're going to be the one and you're going to do this and that. So trust kind of walks with that. And that's what allows love to link up to it and to go through that relationship.
Okay.
Jaron?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna go with love. Only because I'm real particular on who I love, and if I'm picking a woman to love, I love her with wholly. If I'm loving you with my heart, then the trust is gonna come. And if biblically, if it says love covers a multitude of sins, that means that I can always rebuild the trust, but it doesn't necessarily mean I can rebuild the love if I choose not to love you no more. So
Love is an action word, and I think trust falls under that. You know, if you exercise love, trust is going to be a part of that love.
Love is an action word. Yep.
Yeah. So, you guys, gentlemen, you were absolutely awesome tonight. Thank you so much. I'm sure that so many people got so much. Everybody said that they loved the conversation. They enjoyed the conversation. I know some of you are on the East Coast. Some of you are in the Midwest. So it's way, way past your bedtimes. But thank you for hanging out with us. This was absolutely spectacularly awesome. And I know so many people learn so much. And that's what we really try to do every single night, is bring you value and bring you things that's going to impact and change your life. Because, Black love and relationships are the foundation of our community. And if we do it right, we can build a strong community. So thank you guys again. Rob, you got anything to say? Any last words?